So over the past few years, there's been quite a lot of content promoting steroids, glorifying steroids, and even to the point of trying to shame naturals or say that there isn't any point in lifting naturally at all. So, is there any pride in staying natural or any point in staying natural at all? And one thing that I've noticed quite a bit are people shifting definitions or muddying the waters about what natural status is. So they might say something like, oh, well, TRT, you're just replacing what is naturally there, therefore it's natural. And if you're taking TRT, well, taking some other substances, like that's natural as well. Or something like tested doesn't mean natural. And it's like, yeah, those are different things, but the vast majority of people taking part in tested competitions are natural. Sure, some people are cheating scumbags, but it's certainly not the norm, and it's a tiny, minuscule fraction of those taking part. And I've heard even dumber, more ridiculous arguments. Oh, lifting weights is not natural because a caveman wouldn't have access to that technology, therefore it's basically the same as tren. And they'll often kind of just chip away at this. Well, creatine, it does occur naturally in some foods, but then again, testosterone occurs naturally in bull testicles. So it's like, it's kind of just the same thing, right? And this is clearly harmful because you get some kid who had been taking creatine or protein powder or just doing the bench press, and then he gets offered SARMs or he sees an ad for them. They're freaking everywhere. And he'll be like, well, I've already crossed the line, I might as well go all the way. Or someone will blast tons and tons of gear for years or even decades, take a couple weeks off, and then claim that they are natural. It's not really how it works. I think there does need to be a road to redemption, so to speak. I think the WNBF rules are probably a good compromise, where, yeah, if you sit on the sidelines for quite a long time, yeah, you can get your Natty card back. You'll never have your lifetime Natty card, but you can compete, and I think that is probably overall good for the community. And you can have pride in your natural status. If two people have roughly the same level of physique or strength or something else, and one of them did it naturally, and the other one used a whole bunch of gear, I think it's pretty obvious which one is more impressive. That being said, you don't necessarily need to shame someone for using steroids. I don't think that's actually very useful or helpful. However, in most cases, I think it should be discouraged. The fact of the matter is, 80 to 90%, possibly more, of people using anabolic steroids, they are getting gains that they could get naturally. Yes, there are some people pushing things at the highest level, and to me, that's fine. Your goals require them, you put in a ton of time naturally, fair enough. Godspeed, my brother at Iron. Be careful, be safe, but I get it. That makes sense. That is not the same as a 16-year-old who has been lifting 3 months and is eyeing up tren on his internet browser. And the cat is kind of out of the bag, right? Where the information is out there, and I'm kind of torn between having channels talk about it and make informative content, but kind of promoting it and glorifying it as well. Because the fact of the matter is, when you put it out there, there are going to be a lot of mostly younger men who think, wow, cool, I need to get big really, really fast, and this is the way to do it. And you should not be proud of getting natural gains by using juice. Because you are taking life energy from the future, your longevity, your health, even your appearance. Steroid users often look a lot older than they actually are. There are a number of people, I won't name names, who are about the same age as me, 35, almost 36, and you would think they're probably a decade or more older. And you might think as a young man, oh, I want to look older. The future you probably won't want that. And I've seen bigger channels with sometimes millions of subscribers give a sort of, this is your entry-level cycle. Like, if you don't know how to dip your feet in the water, this is what you would do. And when 80 to 90% of your audience are beginners, you have absolutely no business getting them to even think about that. Okay? This needs to be way in the future and probably never for the vast majority of people. It's not a moral thing, it's a logical thing. Most people's goals don't require them, and it's just taking life energy from the future. Often a defense is, oh, well, you still have to put in the work. At the highest level, absolutely. But there are a lot of people who lean on their gear a ton. Their diet sucks, their training sucks, they don't know how to work hard, they don't know how to push a set, their technique is dog shit, and they're relying on the gear to get them results. Is someone proud of winning the lottery? If someone said, yeah, I won the lottery, I'm so proud of myself, you'd be like, what? If someone got a big inheritance, right? They got $1 million on day one, and they're like, yeah, so proud of that inheritance, hedge trust fund. You'd be like, proud? You didn't do anything. And that's the majority of the people taking steroids. Yes, you still have to go in and lift, but the vast majority of the progress that is being made is from the anabolics. Now, at the highest level, I do agree that it would kind of sort out, right? If you look at the top IFBB pros, they would still be top guys naturally. If you just cleared out steroids, the top guys would still be the top guys.
I know you're gonna dig this.
Another thing I've heard is that you need to take steroids if you want to make it in the fitness industry. You got to be careful with that logic, because a lot of the biggest channels are actually natural. Most people, they don't want to look like a big, roided out monster. Jeremy Etienne, I think he's natural. Most people probably think he's natural. I think he has a good physique, and he has a physique that most people would want to look like. Certainly not being on steroids hasn't hurt his growth. He's doing just fine. You look at Geoff, another huge channel, and so even if your goal is to make a lot of money or just to make a living in the fitness industry, you can do that absolutely just fine by staying natural. You might get more visibility, especially on these more visual platforms like Instagram and TikTok, by having that level of physique with the shreds and the vascularity and staying super lean year round, but also being big and making progress. But that's not necessary for most people. Plus, it does decrease your relatability. I've seen steroid users give good advice, and then all the comments were not, oh, great advice, oh, thank you so much, wow, I'll try that out. No, all the comments were, oh, steroid emoji, syringe, what about the trend? And I'm sitting there thinking, man, he actually gave some pretty good advice, and people are just focusing on his juice usage. And the reality is, your natural status does matter, and it will always matter. Because if you build up a certain physique naturally, that shows a lot more credibility than if you built it up by just using steroids. And the reality is, the minute you go enhanced, you are now being compared to every other enhanced lifter. You're playing a different game. And that's a tough game. Because people are going to be like, well, if you're enhanced and Ronnie Coleman is enhanced, why are you nowhere near the same level? And I think this is why a lot of enhanced lifters kind of clarify, oh, I'm only on this. The average person isn't really going to comprehend this. They're just thinking natural, enhanced. And so be very careful when you make that leap, because you're leaping into a very big pond full of some very big physiques. By the way, this video is sponsored by a Boostcamp. So if you're not sure what to do in your training, you can hop on a plan on Boostcamp. Most of them are free. There are a ton of great options there. Plus, you can use Boostcamp to track your progress, which is something you should absolutely be doing. It's kind of hard to progressively overload if you don't remember what you did in the previous sessions, and Boostcamp is the single best way to do that. You can use code GVS in order to get 2 free weeks of premium. So, shout out to Boostcamp for sponsoring this video. And people are kind of being made to believe that lifting weights without steroids is just a waste of time. I've actually worked with people where in their training history, they said, oh, I was going to work with this personal trainer in my gym, but they offered me steroids, and then when I refused, they said, oh, they're just not going to train me. To some people, it's just part of the gym. There are some subcultures in the UK, I think Brazil is pretty bad for this as well, but there are some places where gym plus steroids is kind of just, they just go together. Lifting naturally isn't really seen as a thing, which is really, really sad, because actually you can do quite a bit naturally. And I get it. I'm probably personally down to the point where I'm gaining about 1 to 2 pounds of muscle per year, even if I do everything really, really well. And I'm okay with that. It's slow, but it's noticeable if I squint really, really hard. And of course, this mindset, this mentality, leads to some people thinking that there's just no such thing as natural bodybuilding. They see a stage full of natural bodybuilders, and in their mind, all these guys look so impressive that they must be enhanced because they've been told that to do anything at all, you gotta be enhanced. And so these people hop on when they haven't even made their newbie gains. And I've seen a number of high-level, advanced natural lifters go down the enhanced road. And I'm not sitting there thinking, oh, they betrayed the noble Natty movement. Oh, we lost another one to the dark side. No, I get it, right? You've done something for a really long time. Now you're seeing just extremely marginal gains, and you want to try something different. I was on the Eat, Train, Prosper podcast last year, and Aaron Straker, he's trying that out, right? And I'm not sitting there like, oh, you're not noble anymore, that kind of thing, because it's not a moral thing. It's a practical thing, a logical thing, and for him and his goals, it makes sense. I saw a comment once, it was something like, oh, well, if this guy is such a high and mighty Natty, how has he collabed with guys like Alexander Bromley or Pete Rubish or Vigorous Steve? Because it's not that serious, and I get it, and I don't think that they're coming at the topic from a place that isn't genuine. I mean, I'll have discussions with people who are enhanced as long as they're not a fake Natty or they're not glorifying it or promoting it. There's nothing wrong with putting the information out there or in taking it yourself if your goals actually require them. Whenever I say the phrase noble Natty, I either try to add air quotes or like, but it's not that serious. Like, no, like someone said that about us and we kind of just ran with it, but it's not that serious. If someone wants to go down that road and it makes sense for them, okay, like I don't really care that much. I've had people DM me saying like I'm on the precipice, I'm thinking about taking steroids, and I'm like, why are you asking me this? They wanted me to like video call them or something and drag them off the ledge. It's your life to live, and some people might think that's controversial, but it really is. Okay, I don't think it makes sense for most people. I think for most people it's a short-term thing, and they should probably delay the gratification at the very least. For me, I'm still making progress naturally, and even if it's slow, I think about what would I feel like in the future if I took a few years and blasted into this monstrous physique. By the way, I already get looked at like I'm a freak here in China anyway, so it's not like I have to do that to get those looks or anything, which I don't even really want anyway. But what about after? Because you don't often hear about the downside after that high. You just see the people who are getting bigger every week, and they're vascular, and they're shredded, and they're monsters, and they're moving huge weight. But what about after? Because there's a cost. There's always a cost. You're fucking with your biology. Yes, there's gonna be side effects. There's gonna be long-term ramifications. And I ask myself, how would I feel about training, trying to recover from that big peak? I think I probably wouldn't feel very good. I think slow progress is probably better than super rapid progress followed by a big correction. And you're usually not seeing the broken ones. The ones who took steroids and it was either fake gear or maybe it was real, but they got really bad side effects and pretty much nothing else because they didn't respond well to it. They took a bunch of gear and just got gyno and acne. What did Toji say? Oh, gyno? Oh, just get it cut out. Oh, just surgery. Yeah, no problem, right? And so you just end up in this sort of shortcut mode, polypharmacy, liposuction, it'll fix everything. And it's just not a long-term productive mindset for most people. And yes, this title is the same as an Eric Bugenhagen video from 6 or 7 or 8 years ago, which hasn't aged particularly well. On the other hand, I get it. I understand because he did reach a high level naturally, and then he decided to go to that side of things. And again, the only thing I think is like, hey, Godspeed, be safe. I get it. It's not for me, but I get it. And you can be proud of staying natural without shaming someone who isn't. It's not a zero-sum game. Happiness and sadness, just because you're happy, doesn't mean you have to make someone else sad. Anyway, if you want to know more about the details of programming, you can check out my books. I will link them in a pinned comment and in the description down below. Thank you so much for everyone who has gotten them. It really helps keep the channel going. And let me know what you think in the comment section. This is a spicy topic, so I'm interested to hear your thoughts. Thank you so much, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.